Hello, and welcome to the Budget, Finance, and Warrant Subcommittee meeting. It is June 22nd, 2026. Chair statement, this meeting is being recorded by the Budget, Finance, and Warrant Subcommittee. If any other persons present are also recording, you must notify the chairperson at this time. As I am remote, I am running the meeting duties over to Member Goodwin for ease of technological difficulties.
Which we're not planning on.
We know we just did. We're not having any difficulties, sure. Roll call.
But we're less likely to have the technological difficulties if we preemptively troubleshoot. So it's all yours, Mel.
Roll call.
Oh, you want me to do it? Member Childs.
I'm here.
Member Goodwin.
Here.
Member Webb, I am here.
And I would like a motion to suspend Robert's Rules of Order so we can have a conversation about warrants. It goes a little quicker.
Second.
Oh, but
I don't think we have warrants
the
in
warrants.
this.
Oh, no warrants?
No, we have transportation replacement plan that's being presented and the bid process education.
Then I withdraw that.
Okay. Well, looks like no members of the public, so approval of the June 1st draft subcommittee minutes. I move to approve the minutes as presented.
Second. All in favor?
All right, well, we gotta do a roll call. Member Childs.
Yes.
Member
Yes.
Goodwin. Member Webb, yes. Passes unanimously. Imagine that. Would have thought. All right,
Okay.
You're up. The transportation replacement plan. Let me get a pen.
I'm not sure necessarily to say, I mean, the plan, what we brought, did you bring the age of the vehicles we have that we were talking?
So
Were
they're
they in
all.
the packet?
We
Is there? I didn't see a packet. Maybe I
can
did.
Share, I can share it with you if you
Hmm.
want.
I only see in our packet the agenda and the budget and finance minutes from 6/1 in our packet we received. So we did not, just to make note of it, we did not receive the transportation plan in advance.
There, you shared it.
Let's see.
Did you email it to the whole committee or just the three of us?
No, I included the people that were originally on it when I created it the first time. So you're not on this one. It was originally sent to Karen last year, and then I just update it so that everyone still has it. But I can also
Just forward it right now.
You can forward it. Should you forward it to the whole?
Three of us.
No.
Or just the three of us?
I'm doing it now.
Sure.
I don't have any other.
No.
Original.
You get to say MEL 2 times basically.
But I'm a 2, not a 1. No good 2.
Andy's already got it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then get Ian Childs in here.
Are you sharing it like in an email or like?
No, it's gonna
access via doc.
it's gonna come to you in an email in a second.
Okay.
So we're going to add Ian, but she's not in there. There she is. So you should get an email with this.
Yeah, so this is just the information is this showing the replacement plan?
Well, the plan I'm gonna say is we talked about, like, we are seeking now a proposal. We've got quotes for replacing 3.
Okay, which 3 are you hoping to replace? Would be my next question.
We'll get to that if I can just finish with it. So that we're looking at doing 2 to 3 a year. This year, obviously, we're looking at, because of the fact we have the funds in the revolving account, transportation revolving, we would use that, like we were saying, or like it came out from Rich LeBree's report, exploring leasing. And then the next step would be then to incorporate this, because these are vehicles, into the district's capital plan that we would include. So that's where I would say the replacement plan, I'd say formalizing, would be to look at 2 to 3 vehicles a year. This being year 1 to use our revolving account funds for leasing. And then once the mayor comes out again with the capital request, because as she mentioned last meeting, vehicles need to be approved by the city. So we would include that in our capital.
I think leasing.
Any vehicle purchase.
I know the vehicle, but
right.
I didn't think you could lease with capital funds.
There is a definition, and I would have to
It's
find
like
it.
copiers.
We've had this discussion with, I remember when Mayor Martin was here, too, as far as when you look at the definition, it's depending on useful life and cost.
Okay.
And so since useful life for these vehicles would be a capital lease.
Okay.
You know, so I would say an argument would be made that being capital equipment vehicles in a capital lease, and therefore capital funds could be used for it.
Okay.
So I guess our
That's a whole new.
our official, I'm going to see if I can find on the city's website as far as their definition of capital.
And we've been working with,
Here.
you got it.
So these are the only vehicles that are going to be in Greenfield that are leased.
I don't know what the other two.
I think
the departments do,
so.
but
I'm just, we're entering into a new thing. It's a good thing. We're just entering into a new concept, which is,
Do we even, my question still is, which ones are we looking to replace?
We would be looking to replace the 2019 Dodge with the last 3 of the license plate 329. So any of them,
You said 329?
yes. The ones
The
with the,
license plate number.
Yeah.
The last 3 numbers.
Mhm.
So it's letter H,
Yep.
line H.
Yep, I found it. I just put a yellow mark by it.
as well as 343.
Right below it.
Okay.
And that would be the hope for this year. And then you said one more?
Yep. So then it would have to go to 202. 103, 202.
Line.
202, even though we're looking at 156 that has higher mileage than that one.
Yes, because that has no issues other than it needed a transmission replacement, which was done.
And then the following year, we'd obviously be looking at that one, I'm guessing.
Do we
Other
really
transmissions.
have a 2012 Dodge still in use?
It says not available on it.
It's old.
And just,
So that one is a wheelchair vehicle.
Okay.
And they're looking
Okay.
to see what can be done to it so that we can utilize it again.
So are we replacing with like vehicles, bigger vehicles? I remember the document where he was recommending bigger vehicles.
Mhm.
So are we replacing with bigger?
Yes.
Okay.
It would be, they're called transit vans, which you would be able to fit more students in them and have a need for less drivers. Which
So
is
it's a
nice.
good thing, right?
So the four transit vans are ones you're probably familiar with, the original Amazon
that's
vehicles.
cool.
Where those, you'll see a lot of them out with districts doing them. They've become more popular with contractors right now too, painters, electricians, plumbers, et cetera, because they can stand them in. So they were very hard to get a couple of years ago. I think they're still tough, but there's an opening now where you can get them. A couple of years ago, when I was trying to buy them as yellow buses for the collaborative, we could not buy them in 22 and 23 because Amazon was buying them literally all over the country. You see a lot of Amazon people now doing their own driving.
Yeah,
They're individual, their own cars now, and they're getting paid by
it's a shop.
Amazon as contractors. So they do seem to be a little more available.
Okay, so we're talking 3. Is that currently in the capital planning? Was that already,
I think it's in the revolving.
we're talking about?
No.
What are
We
we,
never included.
What do we-
We never
We have
included
revolving
the-
money.
We
Okay.
never
Right.
included the vehicles in the capital.
just
The-
checking.
Now that we are, again, from the strategic plan, talking about formalizing this, in the light of the fact, I'm seeing this almost as a two-pronged approach. We have the funds in a revolving account now, and based on the discussion that we've had, to use the revolving accounts for at least 2 to 3, well, whatever the ultimate will of the committee is, based on, we do have quotes, and then also getting input from the city regarding, since they need to approve all vehicle purchases. And then, again, so I'd say year 2 of our replacement plan would be embedding the vehicle replacement plan into our capital.
So every year, 2 to 3 vans every
Correct.
year.
Then there's nothing saying, honestly, when the time comes for the capital plan discussion, depending on how the revolving account looks, that we end up saying, okay, look, in our year 2 of our capital plan, we want 3 more vehicles, but we'll use our revolving account funds to lease it or what have you. You know what I mean? So there's nothing saying that by including it in the capital plan, the onus is going to be pushed to the city to buy them or lease them. Obviously, we wouldn't
So-
mind if it were.
Just bear with me, because I've always bought my cars. So the lease. So would the lease be an annual thing? Okay. So is there a point where you say to this vehicle, we should no longer be leasing this vehicle? Is this how
At
this
least
is
to
gonna
buy,
work?
at least to buy, in event,
Right.
so that, and the thing being like we did with when we first started this, the leasing, we end up, leasing them for the 5 years and then owning them after the lease was done, the buyout of $1 or whatever it is they normally do. That would be the same thing I would say we would do here.
Okay.
And I also,
Or it might just look like we're leasing and then just trading them in after 5 years.
I guess I'd say that would be one of those cross that bridge when we get to it to see as far as the
Financially, which is the best decision.
correct.
How many miles you put on, et cetera.
Well, I mean, it looks like we put a lot. We've done a few transmissions. I mean, just the vehicles. I mean, I know some of them were just oil changes, but you're talking like 530, 553, 111, 91. I think that was an oil change. I think the 106, 70, 481, 106, you're definitely within like 2,000 to 3,000 just in repairs a month. I mean, I'm sure you see that number.
Yeah.
Do you know what your average repair cost is a month? You could average it out. You can just guess. You can guess. Pretty guess. I mean, including oil changes, because that would be included in the lease, or no?
No,
No.
maintenance is
Okay.
on.
So maintenance is us, tires is us. Well, the thing is, you don't want to go and say, I'm going to buy some cheap tires to put on these vehicles for these kids, because you want them to be snow worthy, water worthy. You don't want a hydroplane.
So monthly, it's not, it's bad now. It wasn't as bad before when they were obviously running much better. But currently we're averaging probably $4,000, $5,000.
I mean, that was just one 2 weeks.
And
warrants.
the challenge, I just signed a PO increase for $11,000 for sped transportation because of the city DPW not being able to, it would be much less expensive if they were able to maintain our vehicles, which they can't.
Right, I mean, Teresa tries the city DPW first, right?
Right,
That's our
so-
first go-to all the time.
It'd be nice if we could just have like a standing with them for oil changes. I think that would definitely be a help and say, hey, you guys can pick up the oil changes.
That would say.
Not trying to sound weird, even if they were to pay a guy an hour of OT, that would still be a lot cheaper than.
It's not just the money, it's that the city fleet is very old, and so there's a long line of jobs waiting to be done.
Yeah, I think it's that, and then the other thing is, I believe they're down some workers as well, human beings. That's what,
I think they just hired some.
okay, then maybe they just did, but,
I think in
We've
the
always
last
been
month.
told it's that we're experiencing on personnel side. They are.
yes.
And for the record, I found in the city code, capital projects and improvements are purchases are undertaken at intervals of not less than 5 years, have a useful life of at least 5 years, and cost over $10,000. So a capital lease would.
Okay. It would be every 5 years.
Yep.
Okay. I'm just used to, capital being frozen every year, but I made a list for 10 years. That's the other piece of this. But we have the funds.
Which is why I'm saying, I was.
Even though it's put in capital, it's our funds.
And when the
Okay.
time comes when we do what the city ends up coming back to us, when they'll end up approving projects, and they'll notify the funding source of whether they're going to borrow for it, whether it's coming from stabilization, free cash, or whatever, and stuff like that. I would offer up again, or school committee and or superintendent to recommend that, if indeed we have the funds continuing in the revolving account, to say that funding source would be transportation revolving account.
Okay.
But through it, I want to say it would kill two birds with one stone regarding, I would think, the approval process, by school committee for approving it as part of the capital plan. And then also it gets over to the city side for their approval, whether it's a Carol Collins review or what have you, is to the, again, like the mayor said, that all vehicles need their approval.
Okay. The next step is for us to go to the full committee for a vote to approve the purchase of 3 vans. And that which should be
Those are
An
the
expectation.
10s we were talking about. The 10 passengers.
Yes. Yep. Well, basically, we're following the recommendations of the transportation audit. Is that the right word? I never know if I should use audit.
Review.
Yeah.
Review.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And that we will every 5 years engage in this process. I mean, that really needs to be
Well,
put in there.
well, I think when you mentioned every 5 years, I think I follow your thinking.
Because of
For
the capital.
this
plan.
round, you're thinking every 5, but
For this
I'm
Not,
for that one cycle. I think we're thinking of doing it every year. You get what
So
you understand the
So
concept.
is
Year
it like
one
a-
every 5, it's a rolling.
You got,
you said didn't.
Annually.
Yes.
it's 3 each year. Let's call it roughly 2 to 3 each year, but it would then turn over the original vehicle, like you said, next year's in
So it's
5.
3 every year. And then
Every year, but it also would be like no longer like
Yeah.
no like the age no longer than 5 years.
Right, like replacing the original one.
Yeah, no lease longer than 5 years.
Yes.
So how do you get quotes on leases? You have to go to 3 dealers?
Oh,
There's a state contract.
What is the
Well,
average
you can-
cost?
I don't want like a Pinto. I'm like,
Yeah, no, it's the state combines, have done a solicitation statewide for
Okay.
these vehicles, so.
Just,
They did all the legwork.
yeah, well, I'm used to those lists with roofers. There's a lot of legwork.
How much roughly are we looking at?
Well, what we got on there, we actually got the actual price if we were to buy it outright, and then next up is the.
So we only have the outright buy price right now.
Correct. They're looking to see what works best for us with how many miles we put on it, and then any upfit that we would need to the actual vehicle.
200,000.
yes, we have
We're talking 3 though.
we have the purchase price.
We're talking like 200,000.
like a purchase price now, and then the lease numbers, they're gonna get back to us, so we'll have those by July meeting.
Sure.
Because the purchase price, can you give average, like rough figures?
60 grand.
Between 65 and 73. It depends on if there's a wheelchair included in that. We have some new students coming in that are going to need access to.
So you're up to 250. 50,000. Because you need those wheelchair units.
But not each one, right?
No,
No,
we just-
and you don't want to make.
Used to have
Are you hoping to have like one on this, in this round of 3, you're looking to have one have a wheelchair, correct?
Right.
Okay.
You don't want all, because then the wheelchair, you lose seats too.
Yeah.
Correct.
And you do need them, right? But you don't need them in every single one.
which is also the idea behind fixing that Dodge that has a wheelchair.
Used to have two. in case one
Do we know
went
what's
down.
wrong with it?
I think it sat for a while before I came into this position and no one really did anything with it. So they're trying to figure out exactly what it needs so that we can get it up and running.
Who has it now? The city?
Yes.
So do we have another one that's wheelchair?
We have a bus.
The bus, 2 buses?
We have 2 buses.
The new bus and then the older bus.
Correct.
Is a new bus up and running again? Because I know that was having issues.
They're waiting on schematics still. So
Good thing it's summer
yeah, that's
for a hot minute.
mhm.
I did just look at the DPW is still hiring 2 full-time mechanics.
They do mention to us that they're shortage personnel, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, there's, should be advertising at the tech school. Understand. I mean, they just graduated a bunch of no techs. We need to bring those kids in when they're juniors. We need to do like,
Co-ops.
yes. I tried to do that for snow plowing. Mike Duclos is at the tech school. He would teach those kids how to plow. And for whatever reason, it didn't take. I was
It's
like,
really, Jeremy's company tried to work with the tech to do co-ops and it was
It's tough.
hit or miss sometimes with kids.
Hmm.
All right, we're off topic.
Okay.
Do you have anything else to add to the replacement plan?
No.
Just, this is no other hopes and dreams.
Not yet.
You have our attention, so
Drivers.
have at it. Drivers, like the 10 passenger vans don't require a CDL, right?
Correct.
So would you be
That's good.
able, this is an executive session question, but you would be able to like possibly limit some staff with this? Maybe not fill some vacant positions possibly if we're looking at like 10s as opposed to 6s.
Yeah, I think overall you would save money from not having to pay CDL drivers and just get 70 drivers, which are much easier to come by now.
That's a good thing.
Because the yellow buses that you see, even the mini ones, require the CDL.
Would we be looking to surplus one of the yellow buses in the future years?
Yes. We would be looking at
Which bus are we currently mainly using? Is it the,
it's 1122. It's a 2015 Thomas.
okay, that's one I always see around.
Yep.
Okay.
And then the Bluebird is currently having issues. I think it's more the regular maintenance was not.
That would be really great to get that one up. You know, we do a lot of co-op stuff with like Just Routes. It'd be really nice if we had like a nice around town vehicle that we were able to do more co-op stuff with. And that, like that 27 with like your 18 would totally get kids to and from, like to even to Just Routes. I mean, we're talking, it was like 400, I think it was around 400 just for the bus, you know, to get the kids to the farm or to the YMCA. Yeah. You know, to get the swimming back.
Yeah, and we paid a bill last fall. I was surprised that for the bus trip after the parade, the fair parade, is that the right way to call it that? Fair parade? A one-way trip from
400.
up there to the high school to bring the band back.
That's insane.
Which
It is, but
that's what it is, right? So it is insane, but that's what it is.
their
we
insurance is
also-
outrageous.
We all saw that, and we're obviously surprised, right? So we're hoping to not have to repeat that again.
Well, yeah, I mean, it'd be great if you had the 1120 up and running, you know, to be able to use that.
Yeah,
in
even
those
if you had to do 2
situations.
trips, like 2 quick ones, you know?
Mhm. Or if you're using 2 vans, one for instruments, one for humans,
Mhm.
you know, because those vans, the seats all. Now, are we looking that we would have to go? I'm changing the topic here, but hybrid with the city policy. I know we've discussed that
The
in the
issue
past.
is, yes, I mean, Carol came back with some information on it, but the weight of the vehicles and the mileage that we're talking about for these transit vans puts it out of
Yeah,
the energy requirements for the vehicles.
batteries and all.
And also because of where do we end up storing, you know,
How do we
charging
charge them?
them?
How do we store them? Like the
Correct.
clearance levels, especially going down 91, some of those.
Yeah, it's the
Quarters
gross,
are not
gross vehicle
friendly.
weight on a transit is bigger than you and I might call a personal minivan
Mhm.
in that sense. So that pushes us
Sure.
out of the requirement.
And then you have to have a mechanic who can fix a hybrid, which is a whole nother ball of wax.
Mhm.
I mean, even people who bought personal hybrid cars are like, what? Yeah, so I think that's a good thing to stay away from. I mean, we're just trying to get oil changes, then you throw a hybrid in there.
And again, you're looking at like what the 106 number, I think is the oil changes.
Yeah. And that those prices are looking to go up for
Yeah. It's pretty standard everywhere. So one of the vans that you're hoping to replace that would have the wheelchair accessibility, would that also be a 10, or we're talking that would likely be a 7?
that would be a 7.
Yeah, I just didn't know if the 10s even had.
They do.
They do, but
Okay.
they're much more expensive, and it just at that point you're looking at 7 seats available, maybe
Okay.
with a wheelchair.
How many are we looking at with a 7 passenger
We're
with the wheelchair?
so there's
3?
some, yes, there's 3. There's 5 altogether. So if we put that one side up, there is space for 1 extra. So you're looking at 4 seats roughly, which is why we're trying to stay. We just have 1 and we utilize that. Because this year we're only looking at having 2 students. And if we can get the Dodge up and running, it should be fine.
Good to me.
I have
Go ahead.
a timeline question. When do you need the school committee to vote and approve and give the thumbs up on the transportation replacement?
July.
Last month.
Okay, in that case, I would move the committee, request the full committee to approve of the transportation replacement of the 3 vehicles as recommended by the transportation review.
Second.
Can we have some discussion? I kind of wrote down some notes based on what we were talking about. What I had was vote to approve 3 10-passenger vans to follow the guidance of the review, to replace 3 every year, no lease longer than 5 years. I had some I don't know if we want to be that specific in wording or take what you said.
Probably,
Go ahead, you first.
I was thinking, but I don't want, you stopped me at just 1 year.
So just to start this
point.
1 year.
Because then you'll come in the fall for capital.
That's exactly.
Mhm.
That's what
Right. Yeah, but that way you hit the next one in the fall.
Correct.
Because I think you had mentioned the 3. What we're hearing from Teresa is maybe the motion, if you wanted to prep it, is 2 10-passenger and 1 with a wheelchair smaller.
Yes.
So you don't,
What would we call it?
so you don't
though?
want to lock yourself into that.
That was my thing. Is it a compact van?
Or maybe you just make the motion 3 vehicles.
Okay, so.
But I think we want to be specific that one needs to be a wheelchair accessible.
So it could be
Yeah, I
3
would just-
vehicles, comma, 1 being wheelchair accessible.
Handicap accessible.
Yes.
Do we want to put in there, we specifically want 2 to be 10s?
No, I don't think you need to be that specific in a motion.
I'm just asking.
But that's where we're going, right? We're not looking for the Dodge Caravans or anything.
Nope.
No. We're looking for the transits.
Okay, so I just want to.
And that's where we get the bids.
I want to clarify the numbers. 3 to be purchased in July, hopefully. Okay. And then see how that leasing process goes.
For a year,
We're
like a
really
trial
doing
run.
that. And then the next capital round, there would be another 3.
Mhm.
And so
And that'll be in the winter time where you'll start doing that again.
And then we'd have like, so we would do it like, how many vehicles are there?
There's
15 vans?
there's 14.
15 would make
So it'd be like 3, 3, 3, and then 1 year would be a 2-year,
Mhm.
and then you'd start your.
a desperate year, yeah.
Or like I said, my question is like, if we're looking at replacing these with 10s and these are all 5s, so.
In year 4 and 5, I know what you're thinking.
Yeah.
You would reevaluate.
You're gonna
Those 3, 4, and
reevaluate because
5.
you're not gonna
You
need,
baby down to then a flipping 2s.
yeah,
Kids.
or yeah, you might be flipping 2s every.
Right, so it could be because 2 factors, right? As you were thinking, I believe, that you can get more per vehicle.
I mean, I get they go
And then-
different locations, like I totally
Yeah,
understand
no,
that.
that's a great thought. And then the other one being enrollment could be going down. But I think 3, because I don't want to say so far behind, but we're kind of far behind. 3 is definitely now.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
even thinking like I'm even thinking like, okay, we do 10s, and I mean, I'm not the transportation director, nor am I the business person, but like knowing that we do have a couple kids that go to Holyoke, where we might need a 5 instead of a 10.
Mhm.
Where around town, we could use a 10,
Right, and
or they go to Fitchburg,
You got
or,
it. She'll still run the
Yes.
smaller ones
Yeah.
down to Springfield or out east.
yeah, so we might not be, so this year we're definitely replacing 10s, but like next year we could be talking about 5s.
Mhm.
Sorry, Ann.
And the thing about it is why you're including a capital plan revisit yearly, so if by chance we have, if needs changing, or if we end up, as you're saying, come down and look and see that we could get another X number of years out of 1 or 2 of them, then
Yeah,
we adjust the capital plan accordingly.
are we ready to make a motion?
Well, we have the motion on the table that we were
Okay,
discussing.
are we ready to vote?
I am.
Is it the same motion? or-
Yeah.
Okay,
We didn't change it.
okay. Want to verify.
I can scroll up in the transcript to find the motion again if we want to make sure we know what we're voting on.
Yeah, you want to just reread it back? I didn't write it down.
Yep, I am looking.
I'll get it out in minutes and we'll put it on for the July.
Or we don't need to be specific, like which plate numbers?
Okay, so the motion is that the subcommittee request the full committee approve of the transportation replacement of the 3 vehicles as recommended by the Transportation Review.
Second.
You seconded. Okay. Member Childs,
Yes.
member Goodwin,
Yes.
member Webb, yes, passes unanimously. Are we good with that topic, I'm guessing?
I think that was the only topic.
Did you have,
correct?
now we have something else. Did you have anything else you wanted to talk to us about?
I have a transportation question.
Go
that
for it.
Came out of the warrants, which I just want to put out there. So it was a Comescus bill for $6,109. And it says charter
don't.
school transportation.
Mhm.
So are we paying for a bus for the charter school?
Yes.
I want that publicly said. We are paying $6,000 for a charter school. And here we are arguing about pennies for us. Okay,
We have to do that
we have to by law.
because it's within our city limits. So if the charter school is just outside of the city, in another city, you would not bus your students or Greenfield students outside of the city to that school.
What is their walking distance?
I don't think they have those same regulations because that's our policy.
Or,
Not
or do they
theirs.
follow our policy?
They don't have to follow any.
Do you know what I'm
policy.
trying to say? Like, do they follow our busing policy?
They don't have to- they're-
They don't
their
have to
own
follow
school.
anything. They don't even have to have licensed teachers for goodness sakes.
Okay, off topic, off topic.
Okay, and that just hit me really hard when I saw it. So,
Oh, I mean, I have another transportation question if we want to talk about it in the warrants.
well, do they get to choose who buses their kids, or can we say we're gonna do it a cheaper way?
It's part of the bid. It's
Right.
part of the,
Okay, we can't like
I
give
mean,
them the
if
broken down Dodge.
Mel,
there's nothing,
Just
in
saying.
there's nothing,
You're all being recorded.
Sorry,
There-
it's my tax money.
there's nothing in the contract that deters us from determining if there is a cheaper way to do it. The challenge, I think, comes, do we have the capacity to take on? Are you suggesting that our transportation department take on a charter?
you know what you want to know what I'm suggesting, which no one's gonna like this. I mean, I have a thought. What time does a charter school start? Do we know that answer? 8:05. Could they pick up the same buses as our kids? And then they would just get looped after our kids get dropped off over there?
We used to do that and it didn't work well.
Do you know why it didn't work well?
It had to do with their start time and our start time. So the charter school kids used to get on buses that would stop here at the middle school. I lived this. And so the middle school kids would get off, but the charter school kids would stay on if they remembered to stay on. And that was a whole nother problem. And then they would be late or they would be early. And so they would tell us that, we just, that
I'm just
lived-
wondering, like, for a factor, like how that would affect our cost, like how much more.
The challenge, and I guess without doing the actual routing, is that we need to make sure that we have the capacity, and this is what our current, because Mrs. Contract does have, is that every student entitled to ride a bus
Yeah.
has a seat. So adding them because they weren't necessarily included could potentially result in the need for an additional bus, or is there a potential way to then reroute the existing routes to end up adding them on to a, whole new routing that would add them?
When you school choice out, you have to transport your kid. But if you go to a charter school, we have to transport your kid.
Within your
Only
community.
with
Only
if it's
Greenfield
here.
students.
So if that,
Only within your
if that charter
community.
school happened to be, let's say it was over the border, in line, like 50 feet over the border, we would not transport those students there.
Okay.
What you also see happening for school choice is that Frontier picks up students from Greenfield just over the border
Okay.
down here.
Ferguson, so does Shelburne. They all pick them up right on the line.
Mohawk, right in the big wide park.
Mhm.
We know the games they play.
Mhm.
Yep. I sat there and watched.
All right, I do have a question regarding transportation, and I guess this kind of was answered by Mass again. I noticed in the warrants from 615 that the field trip to Just Roots and Amherst the field trip to Just Roots was the same price as the students at Newton going to the Amherst Museum. So like the bill we received for Just Roots was the same price for Four Corners to go to Just Roots as it was for Newton to go, Newton to go to the Amherst Museum field trip. Then I also noticed that the Newton was charged $30 less, I believe, than Four Corners to go to the Amherst Museum. I just didn't know. Like it's the same price to go to Just Roots via Cosmescus how do they bill us? How do they charge us for field trips or anything that's not
Usually
like
it's by the mile
I would
and
assume
by the
time.
hour.
Probably time and distance, I would assume, right?
Yep.
It's about whatever the driver gets paid and then how far it is and any time, running time that
So
they
I don't
have.
know if the Just Roots was a one-time field trip or a multiple field trip.
We'd have to look at the paperwork and see how long they were there. And who, like, and as Teresa mentioned, who drove. So the 2 drives to Amherst could have had a different driver,
Okay.
and one makes more per hour. Or if one of the schools stayed, I'm making this up, I do not know because I'd have to look at it, right? One stayed a half hour longer.
I learned this in the basketball games. If you stay for over.
I just was really surprised to find out that the Just Roots field trip literally was the same exact price as the Amherst field trip.
Right down to the penny, huh?
Yep.
That's a little.
Yep.
weird.
That's what I said too. And I wondered if they
They
went
clicked
multiple times over, like,
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real, just Roots from Four Corners is less than 2 miles.
President walk.
Well,
Yeah.
there's no sidewalks. You can't walk. I mean, it's about 2.
Do you happen to have a date on that or no?
It's from the warrant's from 6:15. Do I have the exact
No,
like?
I'll pull the paperwork and get back to you on that.
Next to the penny. That sounds like somebody
Just
just
like
clicked.
throwing it out there
That's why we look at them.
because I was like, this just seems weird. It was like an in-town.
I think we probably should hold the discussion of it until our warrants meeting.
Sounds great. I just figured, well,
Yeah, well, it's good
Teresa,
to.
Teresa
that
was
in
here. It would be a
advance.
good question to ask. All right, are we moving on to the next thing, Anne?
Sure. Let's move on to bids and procurement process education stuff.
I was gonna say, Teresa, if you want to leave, you're probably free.
Yeah, she can go.
I don't want to hold you longer than you be. Thank you for this information today.
So I guess I can talk about the process as to how, first, let me start with the legal thresholds. Anything between $0 and $10,000 per the Inspector General, you use what's called sound business practices. That could be as simple as looking in a catalog for prices, Amazon, what have you, and then that. In 2022, they raised the threshold for school districts only, that anything between $10,000 and $100,000, you only need to solicit 3 quotes. It doesn't mean you need to get, you only need to solicit. So you end up putting together a scope of services for what you're looking for. It could be a service contract per se. It could be for desks. It could be for HVAC work. It could be for landscaping, as we're clearly have been talking about.
What year did you say that was, Andy?
2022.
Thank you.
So with that, and then anything over $100,000, you need to go out for a formal either invitation for bid or a request for proposals, which adds a different layer to things.
That's when things get posted, correct?
Correct.
And that one we would be required to have a certain amount of bids.
Nope. You solicit, and if
Posting.
if one vendor replies, then you can go with the one vendor, or but you do not need to. I'm going to say the actively seeking of a bid is by actually posting it and or advertising it in the local papers or various publications.
So we're talking 10 to 100,000. I can just say, hey, Bestie over here, you want to bid on this? And I don't have to ask anyone else.
Yeah, no,
No.
not to solicit.
You gotta
free.
solicit 3, you have to ask 3.
But I could ask the 3 people sitting in this room.
Yeah, and if 2 of us don't get back to you,
Yeah, but I get to choose who I ask. It doesn't just go out to the general public.
that'd be fair, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Now,
But if it's over 100K, I'm going to have to ask.
if I can just, for at least what I do when I do quote solicitations, is I will go to, which is what was done for the HVAC contract, is the DESI, and I should say the state has already done a bid for HVAC services where they have gone through and already vetted the
Yeah.
vendors. And so then I would, and which is what I told Mr. Boudreau, and what he did was pick 3 vendors off of the list request your quote solicitation because it was going to be under 100 grand to provide the HVAC services. So, I wouldn't, I don't necessarily just say post it out there on the district's website and we're doing our due diligence. I would, whatever the department is, I always go to Combis or to MHEC first. MHEC is another regional organization that does procurement to have vendors because they've already done the legwork, made sure that they are allowed to do business in Massachusetts, et cetera, et cetera. And so then you would solicit those quotes from them, and you can still keep it posted on the website or whatever, or some places even post it up on a bulletin board in their office. So just because the threshold for quote solicitation is less restrictive doesn't mean that the due diligence is done or not done, I should say, to make sure that what we're getting is what it is that we want.
I respect the state list, but I guess also a part of me years ago, we worked really hard to keep our taxpayers' money local. We even did all our purchasing for paper and everything from bakers. I bought books from World Eye. I mean, we were, Dr. Hollins felt very strongly that we should keep our money local if we were purchasing things. And so, and I think the mayor brought up, at least when we see the landscaping bill, we know it's a local person. So I guess if we're looking, I guess I would request that we always look at somebody who's kind of local. Maybe we don't always have local people. I get that. Or maybe they're more expensive.
You cannot be that restricted to state that you have to make it so that it's competitive.
Okay.
And so the definition of competitive is that, you have the capacity to do the work that is being solicited.
Right.
Then, now you can do things, like some people have done regarding like on HVAC work, which is, if there's, what is the emergency call and the turnaround time that somebody needs to be there. Or something like that. So that's the onus on the vendor to make sure that if you are not a local vendor, that if something goes down,
you're out of Boston and you're.
Correct. But you cannot explicitly state that they have to be a, have a zip code of the city or what happens. So, but what we end up doing is, again, like you're saying, is that we will advertise it publicly, and I would say local vendors are pretty keen on knowing that, they've got their eyes and ears open to any contract that's out there. And so. So then I guess, so those are like the legal thresholds per Massachusetts 30B. Now, when it time comes for, I don't know if we're here to talk also about capital, but capital falls under a whole different regulation. It's called, either Section 7 of Chapter 149J, 3039M, depending on the project. Those are things where what ends up happening are similar to what we had discussion regarding the energy recovery units, which is what, and even when we did the doors and cameras, we do what's called an RFQ, which is a request for qualifications. And what that is, that's just a solicitation of a firm, whether it be an engineering firm, architect firm, to say, we are looking to explore a project of installing energy recovery units on the middle school or replace them. Mm-hmm. Do you have the capacity to drop specifications, to then conduct the bid itself, et cetera, filed sub bids, because those are some things that are required. So that is the, when it comes to major projects, capital in nature, building wide and something, I mean, the normal route is you don't want to, I'm not an architect, I'm not an engineer, you don't want me writing specifications to replace energy recovery units on the schools, but I can write the specifications to get an architect or an engineer firm to then do that. And that's what is done under those other laws. So internally, what we end up doing, we use purchase orders, and there is in our financial procedures manual, there are the documentation regarding the thresholds for quote solicitation. Honestly, the only departments that becomes an issue for are maintenance and technology. SPED is exempt from that, transportation, yes, as well. And they know to use Combis, MHEC, or any other procurement organizations that are out there. Because the Inspector General's office, all they want to make sure is, and thank you very much, the big dig, is that there is a competitive process and a review process of the qualifications of vendors for whatever the work is done. I think back to, I want to say almost 10 years ago, when for whatever reason, when the state did their bidding for technology, and for whatever reason, Apple was
Yep.
no longer listed as a approved vendor in the state of Massachusetts. That sent a whole, obviously in education, Apple is a key user, or I should say we use them a lot in various places now. Some, are going to Google, what have you. But regardless, at that time though, because it created such a panic, they did say if there was another competitive bid process done elsewhere where Apple was listed, you could then use that. So every Pennsylvania, what ended up happening is the state of Pennsylvania did a bid where Apple was listed, so everybody just used the Pennsylvania contract. So what ends up happening is, when I use maintenance because that is kind of the ones that ends up happening a lot. Mike Boudreau, now the new maintenance director, would come to me saying, I need this. And then it's like, okay, let's look at combines. Is there a contract there? Now, we have sent the information off to legal counsel regarding doing the compliance review regarding the HVAC maintenance service contract agreement. But I can tell you what we did. And I know the individual from the public has said that we didn't follow combines, the bid per combines. We didn't. But the reason why we didn't was because we use, as I stated earlier, the combines contracts as the vendors for Mike to solicit from. And so we didn't need to necessarily, because we just choose those vendors to request what we're looking for, we didn't need to get two in writing. We did get two in writing, but we didn't need to. So it's a thing of, because of the flexibility provided to us, we just use a combines as a resource.
Okay, so if there were two in writing, how come that didn't show up in the record request?
I think it did ultimately show up in the record request. I want to say
Because that was, I think all the,
I'll
and
double
I don't
check
like
on that, but I'm
speaking
pretty
for
sure
a third party, but all he saw was the combine.
Yeah, he's reading the language of the
Right.
combines contract that
Correct.
says you need to get two.
Correct, but
Right.
that's all he saw. He didn't see other quotes. I mean, that
Mhm.
was why the question was, where do quotes go to?
Mhm.
Whether they go to the city hall or they live here. I think that's what people are asking. Where is the evidence of this?
I'll double check on that.
I mean, that's really, in my generation of administrators, when we did grants and stuff, you would walk into a superintendent's office, you'd see all these black binders because you knew somebody was going to come and say, what did you spend our money on? And that binder had copies of everything that we did to spend money. So I guess that's the question here is, like, as a taxpayer, I mean, we're the third highest taxed in the great state of Massachusetts, and it's feeling like everybody's just kind of not transparent. We're just kind of spending money, and people want to know where their money's going. I mean, that's really the, or they're moving. And that's also a consideration. So to be able to put your hands on that is really, I think, and I know I'm trained as a grant writer that, anything I spent that money on is in that binder under that number. It's signed. There's multiple copies. If I had to get quotes, they're there, or who I called, it's all there. I hand it to somebody. This is how we spent this money. And I think that's sort of what we're looking for the schools as well. Mm-hmm. Like if you're spending, $200,000 in whatever line item you have, is there a way to, and Andy, you're the only one I know who, you've been in Greenfield. People are not just sitting by anymore. There are people saying transparency. So how do we make it so that somebody could come in here, anybody off the street, and say, I want to know, like, why this money is all this for transportation? That somebody who's in a superintendent's chair or a secretary could put a binder, or whether put a Chromebook, something in front of somebody and say, here's where your money's going. That is just as simple as this is. I think the questions are being asked because the schools are half of our budget. You know, when I heard 11 million for healthcare, and I'm like, ka-ching, ka-ching. I think Greenfield has spent a lot of money building things, and we're in a lot of debt, but there's also the rest of the money. So we can't fight you built a fire station, you built a library. We can't, but we can get down to the nitty gritty, which is, where is our money going to? And it's a core group of people who are working very hard for their money, who are paying high taxes on their homes. And so they're all saying, you know, show us, tell us.
Show us the money.
But I think it's always,
I agree with you.
right? I mean,
and I'll just double check it, because I know when this all started, you know, Mike Boudreau did say to me, and I'm looking through my emails now from him, that, you know, he got 2 quotes and then 1 didn't respond. And
Okay,
so, you know,
that's legit.
Right. You know, so I'm looking for,
I'll
and
get
so
there.
I'll follow up with that. But either way, when I said, when I say, if indeed he only got 1 quote and not only 2 responses, then because of the flexibility provided to us, that would have been legitimate. Now, I'll say what has come to light here and then I'll share this. And I was talking with Roland about it beforehand a week or so ago. We've given everybody, like, we have a master, like, quote log sheet that I've used in other places, where it will then be able to document, I reached out to Roland Joyle. He is
a better paper trail.
And then quoted this price, and then so on and so forth. So we got that. I'm going to say that in light of some of the things, now the snows thing, I'll be honest with you, baffled on as to, because I don't even know why the city did in the first place. But that's neither here nor there. Although I do.
We tracked that down.
Although, and I was going to say, I do have
Marla.
I have a theory as to why it is that's the case.
Well, I do too. So
I'm even going a little more. I'm going to go a little more technical on you, I think. But
okay.
But I think we're in agreement as to why it is. But so I'll find out regarding that. So the process is, whenever they're going to come, they know the threshold that is requiring for the quote solicitation. If they need help drawing up the quote solicitation, they will come to me and I will help them do that. If it gets a little technical in nature, obviously, like Mike was able to put together what he was looking for HVAC maintenance, so he did that, solicited quotes. I can tell you that we did get 3 quote responses for the next round of a quote solicitation that I've shared with the new facility director and Mike, because he was helping out a bit and stuff. And so so that process, we'll say, has been, not that it wasn't followed before, but it is now followed, and we have the documentation, and we do actually have the 3 quotes.
You're making it more transparent.
Yeah. So,
visible.
And the same thing, like we even had in technology, Ian came with something regarding firewall protection and things like antivirus. He had a vendor that provided a quote. I said, here's the Combis contract. Are they listed on here? They were. And I said, but again, if you were going to use the Combis, because this one was over, the amount, and the Combis contract did require to get another one in writing. He got another one in writing to show that indeed this was the cheapest. So those that are in the need to know regarding how to use the state solicited contracts, or MHEC, do use that. And then if we need to write up specifications ourselves, I do that. I'll say one of the things that has come out regarding this research, and I haven't yet asked Becky, one of my theories regarding why it is that the city did the snows is that in their Mass General Law, Chapter 30B, if the municipality has a designated procurement officer, they are the designated procurement officer unless they delegate that authority to another department. And I don't believe that has ever been the case. Correct. So I'm
numbers I can't find. So.
I'm envisioning that because she was the city's procurement officer,
Mhm.
that she did it. You know, and
Well-
an argument could be made, quite honestly,
Well,
technically,
It goes,
should we even be doing our HVAC, should I be doing the HVAC quote solicitation? You
I
know,
don't know. I think that's a great conversation that should be happening.
Or should they be designating
Correct.
somebody who is also certified?
There should be like a formal.
there is a form. There's an actual.
But they would
form.
have to be, right. Mhm.
No,
You could-
I would like it, honestly, because
You don't want other people picking
we know what it is that we need.
you need.
You know,
Well, yeah, you have vendors that people have worked with before that you're like, well, this vendor we did work with and it didn't go well, and things didn't, 2 + 2 didn't equal 4 with this person, and others who are completely easy to work with. Or you don't know. I mean, you could have an issue with like a parent working for this company and being non-custodial and somehow magically in the building too. And you might have knowledge of that.
It's as simple as somebody buying black and white monitors for Apple computers that a teacher's supposed to use, and the programs say what part of the apple is red. It's
Yeah.
as simple as that. I lived that. Thousands of dollars were spent. And you're going, well, maybe they should have talked to the people who are going to use it.
All right, Andy, was that all you had for us on
well,
that
I mean, I
topic?
didn't know
or-
as far as like when you're talking in education
Could you,
of it.
I was just asking if you could tell them, I know you mentioned this during the big meeting as well too, but where the documents live,
We have them.
what we hold and what they hold, they being the city.
I don't know what the city holds.
But what we have to
What
hold.
we have is we do have what it is. There is a contract file on the Google Drive where we have scanned everything in that we have as far as our contracts and the bids and what have you and stuff.
So how would a taxpayer be able to access that?
There's a FOIA request.
So everything got scanned into a Google Drive now, is what you're saying?
They've always been, I guess, yes.
Okay. Now, this is gonna sound strange, but when they do we see any of the bids? Does school committee see them?
You would, I mean,
Like, is there a way that school committee could see them, like, moving forward, or at least budget and finance?
I guess I would say in the 20 years that we've been around, the only bid that I've seen or other have seen would be transportation. Because they then, everything else that would fall under administrative purview, you'll ultimately end up awarding the contract, and like you did for Kismeskis, and again, because Kismeskis was a joint bid with Franklin County Schools, it was approved to do the joint bid and by the school committee and then also city council, because we are looking to go for 5 years, and any contract over 3 years requires city council approval. So, and then the ultimate acceptance of the bid came back to the school committee for approval. But as far as there's nothing saying that you can, but I guess I'd say, what in the bid specifications for HVAC maintenance would you want to see?
I don't know, I was just
Yeah,
asking the
yeah.
question for, we're sitting here talking about, like, how do we make things more, transparent for our public? So, I guess that's where my thought process came up, like, well, is there, are we checking boxes that we did get 3 bids with, budget and finance, or is it just Roland who's saying, oh yeah, now I see these 3 bids, we're good to go. And then school committee's trusting that he knows that the process went the way it did, or now in our case, Superintendent Cruiser. Like, I'm just trying to cross T's and dot I's for people that, and I also don't think we should be micromanaging at the same time.
Mhm.
So it's like this really hard balance of, like, is it as simple as an email? with the information, going and saying, hey, we got these 3 bids. Here's, we selected this vendor. Here's the 3 bids. We blah, blah, blah. And it just, I don't think that email is going to come every week. We're having a conversation like.
I'm just looking at your policy DJ and DJ and DJA about purchasing, and it does say that it's centralized in the superintendent's office. So I guess then it's just a matter of.
But it doesn't have anything about notifying.
Nope.
So one of the things.
We'd have to approve it anyways.
So
kind of. Not
no,
really.
no, it would go, no, that's not our purview.
Yeah.
So they would get, so as a principal, I wanted a climbing wall. I was responsible for getting the 3 quotes. The 3 quotes were stapled to my purchase order. I had the money because I had school choice funds I saved for a climbing wall. And I wanted my climbing wall. And one quote was from England. That's how desperate I was, because they were popular. So that got sent to my boss. And if that boss said she's done her due diligence, she's done her 3,
Well, that
his
would
signature.
that would fall under the 0 to 10 sound business practices.
No, it was
Yeah.
just saying, it was at the time, it would not have met that, because we're talking about 2000.
2022.
So, yeah. But those quotes did exist on paper, or there was documentation attached to the purchase order. So I guess
Sandy mentioned that's what he has a form on to do that. So should somebody say, hey, where is it? You pull out the folder.
or maybe it's even
There you
on
go.
the purchase order, these are the 3 people we called or something like that. It's just being accountable for people. This is where technology isn't always your friend. To have to go through a full, fill out the request and everything, that's just to find out, I have to think about this. Okay,
I'm just trying to figure out where we're at.
I think is there anything else on the agenda?
Nope.
I move
Andy
we-
had anything to add, or that was it? And do you have any questions left?
Well, I think it's more of if we have any action on this that we want to bring to the full committee, if we have any suggestions we want to make, or are we content just to have, just to say this was our discussion and now we are more educated?
I think I'm going to give my feelings. I feel like Andy's tried to come up with I don't think the plan we had in play was really good. And I think the superintendent's office and the business manager are trying to work together to come up with a better process to be more visible at the moment. And it might be worth giving it a trial run and then reevaluation to see how the process is going.
We also do have the variable of, we did vote to ask to have the district lawyer take a look and make any recommendations.
Yeah, I don't think right now we have a motion for anything.
Good.
I've spoken with them and we've
I
sent
think
that
that's a
to
good
them.
plan.
Oh, so when will we hear from council about how
When-
looking
when-
at things?
I don't know. We sent it to them last week. So.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
And I spoke with them. So it's in their hands.
Okay. In that
That's all good?
case, we ready to adjourn?
Do we have a date for our warrant meeting?
We do not yet. Do you want to try to set it right now?
Do we want to adjourn and set it, or should we? I don't know if it matters. I don't understand things sometimes.
You can adjourn.
Okay.
I move we adjourn.
Second,
Want to call the roll for the vote?
sure. Member Childs,
Yes.
member Goodwin,
Yes.
member Webb, yes.
Okay, we are adjourned, so we can stop
We'll
recording.
stop
and
our
I'm gonna-
recording.
And I'm going to save the transcript so that I've got something for my notes.